I've tried just about everything in working out. I've tried to buy gym equipment during COVID. I tried everything. But the problem that I found, I didn't know how to do it. Well, our next guest is going to tell you exactly what he did, how he started a business and went from 3 million to 30 million. Wow. Kaevon Khoozani. Now, hopefully I got it right, but if I don't, he's going to let you know here on Shed Talk. Creating curiosity by asking better questions. This is Shed Talk. Did I get that name right?
Close.
See, that's so close. But here on Shed Talk, we're going to be talking about anything, especially when it comes to bells of steel, COVID, and what does it take to actually have an actually workout gym and a power gym and the gyms that you own, because you don't own any gyms.
No, any gyms.
I actually had to do that because it's interesting, because we had met a few years ago, and it's all about the sponsorship, because you sponsored the WMBF and on power, and it was powerlifting equipment and lifting up barbells, because you manufacture and supply gym equipment.
Yeah. I think that one we maybe gave some stuff for the warm up, or probably just cash or prizes. I can't quite recall, but yeah.
Now, that's got to be one of the most interesting and difficult entrepreneurial journeys and business is gym equipment.
It's I don't know if I would do it all over again, but yeah, I've built it up good now. It's retail's hard, e-commerce is hard, but shipping 150-pound packages across North America is like a whole new level of complexity. Yeah.
So then why would you even bother getting into the gym equipment?
It was just kind of organic. I've been working out since 27 years. So it was always a big part of my life. And then I was working at a fitness store here in Calgary back in 2008. And that was kind of when you saw the rise of CrossFit and powerlifting kind of coming through. And I started training more in that way. And you couldn't really find this stuff. And so I pitched my boss, like, hey, we should start supplying kettlebells and things like that. And he was like, well, if you really want to do it, I'll help you out. And, I have some contacts in China, and you can import through me and sell it on your side hustle. So I did it. And then I just kept going with it and growing. And I was still in university when I started it. And then tried to get a real job, and no one would hire me. So just kept going and going and going. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh, maybe I should have picked something a little bit smaller and easier and lighter, but too late now. And I do love it. I mean, it's my niche too. Like I said, I've been training since I was 12, and I'm not an engineer by trade or anything, but I can just look at a product and be like, this is how we make it better and more compact and more cost effective, and just like my superpower. So I might be a bit of a dud in any other place.
So a question for you, because I think of gym equipment, okay, and home equipment and fitness facilities, and I base everything around the COVID, because all of a sudden when COVID hit, it was like one of those things that all of a sudden you could not find gym equipment anywhere. Yeah. And everybody kept going, man, I wish I owned a gym equipment company. I could make tons of money. Yeah. Was that the actual case when COVID hit? And did your sales quadruple, and were you able to get the product?
Yeah, so we started technically in 2010, and grew it kind of humbly. And my business partner and one of my best friends bought in 2015 as kind of a silent partner. And right in 2019, he came on full time, left his well-paying engineer job, and I kind of came on more full time. So I've been doing it full time, but it was really mostly used to power like my passion, which was rugby and my own physical pursuits. And in 2019, I was like, all right, I'm not going anywhere. I'm washed up. It's time to focus on the business. And at that time, we were doing about, I'll just use Canadian throughout this talk, but I was doing about 3 million Canadian sales. And I think our team was maybe 5 or 7, including my partner. And then, and then COVID hit, and it was, for us, we had already gotten ready to go all in. So my business partner had quit, come on, end of 2019 full time. I was all in. We maxed out all of our personal credit, home equity line, to order as much stuff as we could, not because we knew COVID was coming, but because the business was just kind of naturally scaling. And then all of a sudden COVID hit, and we had a bit of a head start because we had done that ordering in advance. And yeah, initially we thought, oh goodness, we're going to go out of business. Like everybody's screwed. We're going to go into a depression. And yeah, obviously with fitness equipment, the opposite happened. I think fitness equipment and bikes were the two top retail products during COVID.
And plexiglass.
And plexiglass, yeah, right.
I was
and
in the
masks
plexiglass,
and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So we all of a sudden, day one of lockdown or whatever the official announcement, lockdowns, highest day in sales ever. Day two, highest day of sales ever. All of a sudden, we were just sold out, and we're like, oh wow, the opposite of what we thought was going to happen. And so we scaled across COVID from 2020 to let's say the official end of COVID. When lockdowns ended. When was the last lockdown? Maybe 2021, end of 2021. Anyways, we went from about 3 million to I think about 21 million sales in those 2 years, and faced lots of challenges. We didn't have too many suppliers screw us over, only one, and it was a pivotal item too. It was weight plates, iron weight plates. So weight plates and dumbbells were kind of the two hardest to get, and we ended up pivoting into we tried to find something in Canada, tried to find something in the US, like a foundry that would work with us, and couldn't get a call back, and ended up pivoting to Vietnam and started working with this new factory that was in the north of Vietnam, close to an iron mine. And all of a sudden, in the middle of COVID, we had like an unlimited supply of iron weight plates. I was able to obviously capitalize on that. And so it was a pivotal transformation for the business. And obviously, we were lucky. Most of the world was not so lucky in the industry. Obviously, the opposite of us, the gyms all took the hardest hit. So we scaled a ton, but the entire time we were scaling, I was working on product development, getting ready, because I knew it was just, was it 6 months before this is over, a year, who knows? So taking that opportunity to build out a real company, hiring lots of people, building out systems and processes, so we were ready for when it was over, so to speak. And so it's we've continued to scale, and I think last year we hit about 36 million and 90 employees, and it was obviously greatly accelerated by COVID.
So when you start off, and as young entrepreneurs, and they're starting off, and they're getting going, and then all of a sudden, and I don't call it luck of the draw or anything like that, because COVID hits and it grows.
Yeah.
That actual starting point from going from a million, okay, I'll use that first one, because you said you're 3 million. That first initial pop up, like to growth, how hard was that for transition from going from like a million to 3 million to 20 million? Like that transition, was that a difficult move?
Yeah, I mean, it was, nowadays, like so many parts of the business are just like trying to grow it, marketing and outbound sales and whatever. So all we had to do at that time was just get the inventory and ship the inventory. There was no marketing to be done. There was no, customer. I probably should have done a better job at customer service, but we were like, the customer service is the product is in it or it's not in, we're going to ship it or it's not. So we weren't really managing our customer service. That was our only job, was get stuff in, ship it out, get stuff in, ship it out. And so the simplicity of the business, I guess, made it a lot easier in that sense. And of course, there was challenges like we were in a 6,400 square foot warehouse, and we had to knock a hole in the wall and take over the bay next door. And we had to try and hire people, and we had to be careful with the precautions of worst case scenario, we get an outbreak, we get shut down. That never happened, thankfully. And, we lose a whole bunch. And then the logistics as well. So container prices scaled from 3,000 in a can to, I think, peak at 20,000. And so a lot of people actually got burned by this. There was a few kind of pop-up retailers that would take a bunch of orders, then once they had enough for cans, send the money over to China and buy it. So they were buying their product at a $3,000 container price, and then all of a sudden they got hit with a $20,000 bill. And there was a couple guys that almost went under. So there was like that, but we avoided all that. We were we definitely could have gone harder with our ordering and inventory, but I think we were more on the cautious end, which I think definitely paid off. So yeah, as far as like, I'd say now it's almost hard to scale because we have so many moving parts and so many different departments and so many people, and we're trying to generate sales. So in ways it was easier, and ways it was harder, I guess.
It's kind of like one of those things. It's we talk about making your first million is easy.
Yeah.
Keeping it is
Yeah.
the hardest part, and doing two, three, four, five is easier, but you could lose it just as fast. And as a growth strategist or in growing in business, you can do 30 million, 100 million, 200. Sometimes you make more money when you're making less money
Yeah.
and more margin. It's like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
we do $100 million. That's great.
Yeah.
But
What's my
I made more
actual
money when it
margin?
was $100,000 company,
Yeah.
as an example.
Yeah.
When growing this business, and then here you are, and you're growing and you're scaling. So let's go back where COVID's already done. Now it's like you maxed your peak, you've done it. Now you've got your people and your systems, processes that are coming into place because now it's calmed down. The market's calmed. Now you get to find out who the players are, how they're going to play, who survived the chaos, the blow up. And then now it's like, all right, now positioning yourself in the marketplace. How does 2024, last year, look, and what was your greatest challenges in 2024? Because we went from COVID, and now let's go right back from last year, because that becomes the pivotal moment from there to here. It's where you find yourself last year.
Yeah. Yeah. You're all of a sudden running a much larger company than you used to, and not as like, fun, right? Like when we were smaller, it was all about, everyone got to wear many hats, and you got to do, there was no middle management, and, we follow EOS, the EOS system, and getting your mindset around that is definitely a challenge for a lot of entrepreneurs, including myself. So like that challenge of like being slower, slower to be able to pivot and take on things, or why do we need this middle management? Can I just boss people around myself? And those aren't sustainable. So I think that is something that I struggled a lot with in 2024. It's also, nerve wracking. Like a lot of entrepreneurs, you have so much of your money tied up in the company itself, right? So you're not like, you're still, have that ramen noodles, thought process of like, oh man, everything could go wrong at any moment. And this whole thing could blow up. And, so it's weird. You got like, the mindset shift of like, trying to be a better leader and using systems and processes, but also like my inner hustler entrepreneur is like, oh, let's just do stuff and go as fast as we can and just deal with the consequences. So I think that was a big thing for me, for the company overall. I think the biggest challenges were, I don't know. It's hard to say. I don't know if we had like any crazy distinct ones. Yeah, just managing like there's just, sometimes I look at the warehouse or spreadsheets and our org chart, and I'm like, holy shit, there's a lot of stuff going on. So it can be a bit overwhelming. But no, I don't think there's been anything too crazy. We've got a great team, and my business partner is like, if you ever read the US book Rocket Fuel, it's like we are textbook definitions of integrator and visionary. So we work very well together, So yeah.
So when you're in the greatest challenge right now, so you're in you've done the growth phase, you're in that trying to settle it down, and then all of a sudden realizing that you need help. Now, when I mean help, because you have a partner, you guys are in that perfect set of growth model. Now, when did you realize as an entrepreneur that you need EOS? Like you needed a mentor, or EO, and we're going to talk EO. Like,
Yeah.
when did it become the aha moment and going, wait a second, I need a support system that can actually grow? Or did you ever think of that? Or
Yeah.
like, how did you walk into that?
Yeah, well, I've been in another forum called E-commerce Fuel, which is it's online. It's for e-commerce entrepreneurs, and there was a lot of talk about EOS in there. And so we started with it maybe in, a while ago, 2020, 2021. And then one of my favorite books that I read before was Ready, Fire, Aim. And I think that does such a great job of like breaking down like, okay, you're at a 1 to 5 million, you got to do this, 5 to 10 million is this. And yeah, just like realizing and putting your ego aside of like, if figuring out really what you want, like, do you want to go? Because like you said, like some companies are making 5 million in revenue a year and netting 30% margins. Like that's not, that sounds like a good gig. So for us, it's like, well, do you want to be $100 million company? Yes, then you have to do this and get your ego to the side and start trusting people, and also start like hiring, hiring people for those roles that you used to handle yourself, and hiring people that are better than you at what they do, which is a bit of an ego hit. So there's quite a few people in my company now, probably most people in my company now, what they do in their day-to-day job, they have surpassed me. So yeah, I guess that mindset shift of like, you don't know, you're not hot shit. You don't know. So get over your ego if you want to grow. I don't know if that's on top. Yeah.
No, that totally makes sense. And what's interesting about it, because you're asking about hire people, great people that make you look better, and then you're there because they want to be there. Was there ever a time? So here you are building this company. You got it. Here you are today. Okay, you're doing very well. That enough's enough, and how much is enough?
I know. Yeah, I think about it all the time. I listened to a good book a few months ago called Never Enough. It was by a Canadian entrepreneur that I went to high school with. But it's weird because I remember when I first joined that e-commerce business group, in your title, it says like what your company is and like how much revenue you do. And I remember seeing all these guys, mostly American guys, and their title says 10 million a year, 25 million a year, and I just couldn't even fathom it. And now that I'm there, I'm like, I want the next step. And it's also extra weird for me because I am like a extremely immaterialistic person. I want to have a full fridge, a safe car, quality time with my family, but like none of the high end stuff really appeals to me. So maybe it's overall like the game, like me and my business partner. One of the ways we became very good friends in high school is, well, we were both competitive athletes, and then we also played this game called Magic the Gathering, which is like this kind of nerdy card game. And just we loved it, and we bonded over it because it's just all strategy and different dynamics. And so the money part of it is I don't know when it's enough. Never.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's more about the game, I guess.
Hey, take a minute and smash that subscribe button, and let's get back to the episode. As if you're looking at it, it's more about the game. You're building the game. So I got to ask you another question. It's kind of like owning your own shoe company.
Yeah.
Do you have great shoes? Is your gym in your basement garage as good as it should be?
No, it's not. Actually, I don't even have one. We're planning on building out one right now in our house, and working with there's this really great guy in town called Golden Larch Design, who does these like super nice home gyms, and he works a lot with us, and he's going to help do mine. But I actually train mostly at my warehouse. And I'm spending a lot of time testing new products and working out with the team and just getting it done there. I actually I like it there. There's lots of space. But yes, no, it is. And in my last gym I had in Manitoba, it was like a lot of like discontinued models and like defects. I'm like, I don't care if this bar is scratched. I'll take it and put it in my gym. I do most of my training at work.
Cool. So what is the one thing that you're doing right now, or the one thing you're not doing right now, that has worked for you? So what is the one thing that's never worked for you, but all of a sudden it became that hidden gem that it actually works? It's kind of like an accident.
For working out or for business?
For business. It could be working out too, but we're going to talk business.
Okay.
So think of it's an accident. You're doing that one thing over and over, and you're going, oh, this is not going to work. And then all of a sudden, oh my gosh, it actually works. That aha moment.
I don't know. I guess maybe one thing is I've been trying to I've been following ChatGPT and AI for closely since, I guess, I don't know, a couple of years now, since it like really became mainstream. And I was never really able to, get it to work very well for me. It was kind of clunky. It was almost like more effort than I was getting back. And I feel like this last quarter and into now, I've really hit a stride with it that it's definitely increased my productivity and efficiency by a lot. Maybe AI.
So interesting. So let's dive a little bit more into that, because we call it the tip of the spear.
Okay.
So the tip of the spear is, here's AI. It's at the tip, And it's one of the things you know that you don't know. But asking that same question to you, that what was that one thing? So here it is, you're in the AI that's actually taken off. What part do you use of it? Is it the writing? Is it like how are you using it in your company?
So I think okay. So there's kind of, I look at it at 4 layers. So there's one which is just ChatGPT and the ChatGPT app, which I use. I mean, one of the easiest ways I've been pushing people to start using it instead of Google. You get much more efficient results, much more useful results for search, and so that's kind of like the first layer. I use it in my personal life all the time. I mean, oh man, I had like a bill from my out of province car inspection. They were like, "Here's everything that needs to be fixed." Took a picture of it, uploaded to ChatGPT. It was like, "What's this going to cost me in Calgary?" And it gave me an estimate that was within about $500 of accuracy. So like I'm just using it like crazy for that. And then the kind of the next layer is you can in ChatGPT you can build your own little ChatGPTs with custom instructions. So like I have one where it helps me research competitor products and figure out where I should put my pricing. And it has a set of instructions that it follows every time. And then the layer on top of that is you can actually integrate its API with other software tools. So one of them is like if we get a review in, it'll automatically pull into our system and help us write a nice, nicely thought out review, a reply to the review. Because before, somebody would leave like this thoughtful review and we would just kind of be like, thanks, thanks for the review. And now it's like in our own voice saying thank you, pointing it out. And then also our people take that review and make any edits and put their own there. And so it's just, it's a higher touch. And then the last one is that there's a lot of AI specific softwares that are implemented to just kind of help make things a little bit better. So one, for example, is I'll run my YouTube videos through it and it'll transcribe it really well. And I'll transcribe it into several languages and upload it to YouTube. So just doing something that I never would have done before because it would take ages. And now all of a sudden I can have better done subtitles for all my videos in a minute instead of
So it's
hours.
interesting as an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
You found the one and it's AI and you broke it down into 5 categories.
Yeah.
Now, are you the one doing the work of the 5, or do you have a team member that you've hired to say, okay, I want you to learn the AI part of it and implement it for you?
No. So actually that's been one of my rocks with EOS for this quarter. So last quarter it was just really taking the time to focus on how do we actually apply this to our business, and then take my results and then start to do coaching sessions with my leadership team on how to use it, how you can implement it, and yeah, we've started the first part of that rock was just basically ChatGPT Pro Access for all extended leaders. And then the next step of that is individual coaching sessions with everyone, being like, tell me about your problems. Tell me what you're doing on a day-to-day basis that could maybe be automated or done better. So yeah, we always think the way I like to put it is, what is it? Faster, better, smarter is kind of what it helps you. It won't do the work for you, but it'll make it faster, better, and smarter.
And it's interesting because as entrepreneurs, we always have this vision. We're the visionaries. We're there, but we're not actually the doers. We're the creators. Yes, we're all motivated. We're all that in a bag of chips.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing is like, okay, here's my idea. I want to do it. But the implementation is very difficult for entrepreneurs because all of a sudden it's a squirrel. Oh, now we're over here at the next shiny thing. And from my experience in watching this and listening to your story, it's interesting that you're able to do that yourself. And I'm always looking at going, oh, I got to hire someone to do that project because I can't spend the time to do that. So as an example for young entrepreneurs that are doing this, how important it is to actually focus on those 5 things that actually make the biggest difference in your company.
Yeah, like I set my own rocks every quarter, and I'll often have rocks for myself that I like to call, I'll skeleton them. So I'll skeleton out a framework of what I want. Let's say it's a new customer service software, although even that I haven't really been doing anymore. Let's take the AI thing. So rather than trying to hire somebody, I'm like, they're not going to figure out exactly what I want. I'm going to just skeleton this thing out myself. It'll be one of my rocks. And then I pass it over to the team to like make it a reality a lot of the time when it comes to those. I mean, they're doing their own rocks now, their own things. There's things happening in the company that I don't even know what they are or how to use them. But yeah, still all those projects, I'll do the skeleton work and then they'll flesh it out.
So, what has been one of your greatest failures?
Greatest failures. Greatest failures. I don't know if there's like a single one. It's probably just like ongoing battles with like I don't sleep well. Um, I don't follow as tight of a diet as I want, and I don't. Yeah, I think more like probably my sleep is probably my greatest failure. I not getting my sleep. I mean, for years, for 20 years, I used to be a bouncer for a long time. And I feel like that's messed up my clock. And yeah, so but as far as like single greatest failures, um, yeah, I don't know. I've been pretty lucky. We've had some kind of closer stressful calls. Um, I'd say one failure was we worked with a third party logistics company, and I didn't read the fine print about their billing about something, and I spent so long figuring out who would be the right partner and how much it's going to cost, and it's not even like they tricked me. It was in the statements, and I even had a consultant helping me. And I just missed this one little thing that cost me at least a couple $100,000, and yeah.
Now, what about the one thing that you would go back to your not future self? And I always ask this one question. It's one of these things that, what did you do 5 years ago? Okay, and we're going to pull AI out of the mix. Okay,
Okay.
what is that one thing that you did 5 years ago that was so tiny that you thank yourself today that you did it? And what is the one thing today that in 5 years from now you're going to go, man, am I ever smart? Meaning, what we're building is the past, the present, and the future, because it becomes a time capsule, knowing that I'm going to use your sleep. All right, I'm going to get better sleep today. So in 5 years from now, man, I got the best sleep in the
Yeah.
world, and I'm this.
Okay.
But what's that one thing 5 years ago, the little tiny thing you said, okay, maybe stop calorie counting, and it
Yeah.
became that. But it can be business and anything. What was the one thing 5 years ago that you did that changed today? And what's that one thing today that you're going to do or idea that can help you 5 years from now?
I think 5 years ago, probably with my business partner coming on and realizing the importance of financials and accounting. He has always led the charge on that, and I always treated my accounting and financials like an afterthought. Like, you know, that's just I want to sell, I want to market. That stuff isn't important, and say especially as you scale, it becomes possibly more important than anything else. Having good accounting and financials, and yeah, listening to him about that and making putting the resources in that he wanted to make that happen and software and taking back seat to let him do that and use his smart brain. And then now excluding AI,
Yeah, excluding AI.
excluding AI, 5 years from now, I think probably moving to Calgary. I think back to Calgary. I think that where I was living before remotely and coming into Calgary for trips, I don't think that would ever allow me to scale my company to where I want to go and where it's going right now. So I don't know if that counts, but yeah, moving back to Calgary, it was always like a theory of mine, like, oh, if I'm here and I'm hands on, I'm going to be able to make just such better products and help coach my team into, exactly where I see the vision for this company going, and leveraging, like they're great at what they do, but like I said, I have this like laser vision of what we should be doing and where to go, and it's hard to do that remotely. So yeah, I think I'll be thinking myself, at least business wise, I do love living in Calgary. So, but yeah,
So, so here's an interesting question, because as I'm sitting here and I'm listening to this and thinking of all the equipment that you make, all the equipment that you sell, and that you as equipment manufacturer, distributor, why not create a gym?
oh man, I don't know. I think gym business is I think if you're gonna pick a business, it's got to be one of the worst. It's so hard. There's like razor thin margins. It's it's a hard business, and I'm better at designing equipment than managing a gym or managing people or whatever. That's like definitely my superpower. But yeah, I have. I had this little communal gym that I had a long time ago. Leo King's obviously a gym owner, but another friend of mine owns the Strength Edge in town. And, sometimes we'll have lunch and he'll tell me what he's up to and what he's having to deal with. And I'll tell him all my problems. And I'm like, I think I like my problems better.
How true that is.
Yeah,
It makes it way better. Now, as for any entrepreneur here, and I'm thanking you for very much for being on the show.
yeah.
And one of the things is, what is the one advice you would tell an entrepreneur starting off, or even where you're at and in the fitness industry, that want to get in the fitness industry, okay, entrepreneurs, because I know so many trainers that they talk about it, they want to be a part of it, that what advice would you give them?
Um, it, I It's a hard business. It's a very sexy business, and often sexy businesses are a lot harder because a lot of people want to do that, right? Oh, training, gyms, gym equipment, that's so cool. I would recommend looking at maybe some unsexier businesses, like a car wash or commercial cleaning or whatever, and keep your passion separate from maybe your finances, from your financial well-being. It is a really hard game, and you got to be sharp. You got like Leo King. That guy's a master trainer and smart guy. My friend's a Strength Edge. And yeah, I would highly caution around it. I think it's one of those industries that you can easily test too. I used to be a personal trainer a little bit, and I got a feel for it. But I say, if you did want to pick one aspect, I think supplements might be the way that I would go. It's overly saturated and extremely competitive, but there is so many niches available within it as well. So like I know e-commerce sellers who cater to, whatever, a very specific age category or like even condition and sell supplements just for those people. And they'll do tens of millions of dollars a year with very little headaches in that process. So if you really want to do it, I'd say go into some sort of niche supplement. But yeah, get a feel for the industry and maybe put your efforts in towards something that'll make more money but isn't as sexy, and then keep your that's another thing to talk about too, is grinding every day, working in the industry that you're passionate about, kill your passion a little bit. Before I owned this company and I was all in on it, like I was a competitive strongman, or not competitive, amateur strongman competing there. I was into competing in, I was playing rugby, I was training really, really, really hard, the strongest and best I've ever been in my life. And I don't think I'll ever be able to get close to that because, you're just around it all day. And, some guys with the discipline like Leo can still do it all day long, but it can kind of eat away at your passion a little bit.
Right. So your next 3 to 12 months.
3 to 12 months. So first, survive all these wild tariffs and de minimis, and this has caused a lot of headaches over the last week since this is rolled out. So I'm expecting a lot of that for the next 4 years, because 60% of our business is in the U.S. and last time the Trump administration was in, they hit fitness equipment with 30% tariffs at one point, which went back down to 7. So there's going to be a lot of that. But 3 to 12 months, so managing that and dealing with it, and expansion. We're because we, kind of saw this coming, right? We went through this the last time, tariffs, etc., possible trade war with China. We've been planning expansion to the EU and to Australia. So I think we should be launched there by mid this year, I'm hoping. And so yeah, that's the two big audacious goals. And then the other one is just managing what's going on. Because my last week has been consumed with dealing with these cross-border stuff and the tariffs and everything. Yeah.
Perfect. So where can anybody find you? How can we find you?
Bellsofsteel.com. If you're in Canada, bellsofsteel.us if you're in the US. And yeah, I don't have a lot of, I'm on LinkedIn, but my Instagram's just at Bells of Steel, is the company Instagram, at Bells of Steel on YouTube. And yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much. You know what? Like, share, subscribe, hit that hashtag button, that thing that says, yeah, I want to like you guys. You're awesome. Hit that one. Hey, thanks again for being on Shed Talk. And that was wonderful. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you. Now you know. Shed Talk.